Hi, today we're going to run through the Bestech 710A testing panel. This is something that we're really proud of. We surveyed a lot of instructors around Australia to see what they required on a testing panel, and this is what we've come up with. As you can see, we've got a main distribution panel. We've got 4 lighting circuits with different lighting fittings. We've got 2 power circuits, a range, a hot water service with an isolation switch, an equipotential bond, a safety circuit, which is a fire pump, and an AC 3-phase connection. We've got the ability to put extra low voltage 3-phase on the left-hand side there, so we can do a phase rotation test along with a connect-disconnect. The panel consists of 35 faults, more than enough to do a capstone assessment or even use it throughout the year. It's easy to put faults into this panel. It's computer controlled, and with the click of a mouse we can put combination faults through or single faults if required. We can also daisy chain up to 50 panels in a classroom, so you can individually fault each panel or fault them in multiples together. Now we're going to show you how the software works.
Right guys, now what we're going to do, we've been through the features and benefits of the 710A teaching panel. Now we're going to look at the software that comes with it, the interface software. So the first part to perform, once you get past this intro screen, is the actual configuration for the software. So to configure it, we need to do a port scan. If you've already previously done one, it will have it saved there already, which I have. That's basically where your USB is connected to your computer from your panel. So we've saved that. The next part of the configuration, part 2, is to do a panel scan. We'll do the panel scan, and basically if you have 1 panel connected or 10, they'll come up. So this is going to show you panel 2 connected. As I say, if you have more than 1 connected, as in you have them daisy chained together, which is a possibility if you have multiple panels. It doesn't matter if they're the latest panels or the previous releases, they will come up here in the panel scan. Then the final step of the configuration is simply to put the password, which is NIDA1, and hit connect. So the next screen that comes up is under the fault selection tab. So it defaults to polarity first, and as you can see there is 10 faults available for polarity. Under shorts and interconnections, there is 6 volts available. Under insulation resistance, there is also 6 volts. Under earthing, there is 8 volts available. And under fault loop impedance, there is 5 volts available. So the next bit is over on the available panels section of this screen. You'll see panel number 2 has a tick next to it. So when there's only 1 panel connected, it defaults to be ticked. If there's multiple panels, they'll come up here on the right of that number and they'll be unticked. They'll all be unticked. At which stage you need to select which panel you want to insert faults in, or panels, and then tick those. Down here shows the fault count for the particular panel, so it's set to 0 because we've got a nice clean installation on panel 2. So if we go back to polarity faults, and we can look at the 10 available, and you can select whichever one you want from different parts of the 710A panel, which we previously went through. So I'm just going to randomly pick a couple of faults. I'm going to pick the second one here, and this one over here. So you can see that this during that process it brought up a yellow portion that said it was setting the faults, and once they're set, these turn red. Over here, fault count on panel 2 is 2 faults, which we have selected. The next part is to look at panel view. Panel view, in my opinion, is the star of this software as an instructor. So select panel view. You can see you have the actual picture of the panel that we previously looked at when we looked at the features, we looked at the hardware itself. We have panel 2 over here, it's not selected yet. So if we select panel 2, where we have 2 1.2 fault count in the system, and we tick panel 2, you'll see over here on the actual panel 2 exclamation marks appear. When we hover over the exclamation mark, you'll see the first one is fault number 4. It's a polarity fault as a category. It's an active and neutral reversed on all power 1. So this whole power 1 has a active neutral reversal for that polarity fault. The second fault is on power 2, as you can see, and when you hover over the exclamation mark, it is classified as fault number 28. It's a neutral and earth reversal, power 2, outlet B. Then, once we've done that, we can go back to the fault selection and polarity, and you can either clear them one at a time, or you can just go to clear all faults on the selected panel and it will clear them all, no matter how many faults you've got selected. The same process applies for all the other fault categories. So we say we go to an earthing fault, for example, we select that fault there, then we go to panel view, we tick panel 2, and you can see the fault is actually in the sub-main circuitry on the lighting. And you hover over the explanation and you'll see shed light 1.25 ohms. So that's the actual fault for that particular scenario. Then the next, you can go back to, say, polarity, and you can clear all faults once again. And it's cleared all the fault panel count back to 0. That's a really cool feature if you just want to throw a random individual fault at someone. The next part of the software that I want to show you is the custom fault creation. This is really cool, saves you continually putting individual faults and forgetting what you've done previously. You can have sequences set up, so up to 10 different sequences you can have in this system. You can have your own faults, or you can call them your own faults, or you can call them capstone, or you can call them assessment 1. Each instructor can have their own sequence if they want, or you can use a range of sequences for everyone. Say if you're doing practice or experiment faults, you can have, say, 5 different sequences set up, and say use sequence 1 for a couple of classes, then move to sequence 2, 3, 4, etc. over different classes or over a time frame. Then you can have another lot of sequences for assessments for the particular students that you have over a period of time, and then change the sequence for the assessments to something different and have them all pre-configured so you don't have to worry about doing it every time you use the system and remembering which faults are which. You already have a database set up with a matrix of faults. So I've already pre-set this one here, but I'm going to change it to show how easy it is to change. I'm going to change it to assessment 1. I'm going to change the faults as well to show you how easy it is to change to 1, 5, 9. So I have 3 faults in there. It's called assessment 1. I've selected panel 2. Now all I need to do is hit this green button. It is sending the faults. It has sent the faults. The fault button is on. You'll see over here, panel 2 fault count is 3, which is going to be fault 1, 5, and 9. When we go to panel view and we select panel 2, you'll see the 3 exclamation marks. So the first one over here on power 1 circuit is a short and interconnection fault, interconnected neutrals, power 1 and light 3. The second fault is a short and interconnection fault. It is interconnected active power 2 and light 1. And finally the third fault is a polarity fault. shed, P1, neutral and earth are reversed. So that's the 3 faults that are connected just now, and if we go back to custom fault view, the 3 faults are still there, they're in the system. To simply clear them, you select that, X, and the 3 faults are cleared. As you can see, the panel count for the faults is 0 again. So the options are vast and challenging for the students with this panel and the software. The idea is to make the software as seamless and simple to use for the instructor assessor as possible, so that you're spending most of your time observing the student doing their tasks, being safe, instead of worrying about the interface or the software. It's nice and easy to use. The panel view is the best feature in my opinion. Great system.